Yep. You were saying something about going out with your mom to eat.
Yeah, we're going out with my mom to eat tomorrow, and she's bringing one of her friends with her. And her friend's like 93 years old, and she's kind of having trouble with her hearing and her sight and everything. Really hoping she doesn't completely lose it. She lives by herself, It'd be terrible if she lost her independence here. She may live another 10 years, be 100 and something when she dies. But she kind of reads lips. So
so you have to keep it uncovered, huh?
I have to trim my mustache like once every month because I'll go out with, and that's my reminders. It's like my mom says, let's go on out to eat with my friend, and my wife says, you better trim your mustache because she can't understand what you're saying unless she can see your lips.
There you go.
But as far as the beard goes, it's part of like when Rachel stopped taking her medication, I couldn't get Rachel to go to the doctor, so I had to go get a judge to make her go to the doctor. And so my mom's like, you better trim your beard. And it's like, no!
Oh, that is true, yeah. Well, you consider yourself lucky that you didn't have to go clean shaven and short cropped hair either.
I asked the lawyer or whoever it was I was talking to at the facility, I said, do I need to cut my hair? Because I was ready to do it. I was like, whatever it takes to get my wife to see a doctor, that's what I'm going to do. And he said, man, your hair don't represent who you are. This judge is not like that. I'm like, cool. But I did have Mom trim my beard. And ever since, it's like that was the first time a beard had been trimmed in 10 years. And so now it's like every now and then it'll get wild again. And I'll just say, Mama, could you trim my beard again?
Remember the good old days when you used to wear those big sunglasses and everything?
No.
You used to have you remember that. You used to have a really short beard back then, too. So. And the short hair, too, yeah. So those were the days.
Well, I was talking the other day about, I don't know who I was talking to. I think it was Carlos. Maybe it was you. But I've decided that I'm probably going to go back and delete every video I've ever made and just redo all of them. But delete them as I remake them. And no, it was Carlos. He was saying, no, don't do that because you've got a lot of good ones out there. Just leave the good ones alone. Like, what kind of religion does God approve of? The one where I talked about how children had not been propagandized, and so we got to go back to the way we thought as a child. That was a good one. I don't think there's anything wrong with that video, but there's a lot of them where I'm talking about.
I think you need to have a democratic vote about this. Some of those videos I might want you to keep. So. Maybe we get a committee together and vote on it or something.
Have I ever explained to you what the Greek words demokrateo mean?
I mean, that would be maybe that's a good swing into the topic at hand. So
yeah, let me go move that light. It looks like that looks kind of ugly back there, and I guess you can see it in my camera.
Or turn it off.
I'm just gonna move this back here. This is my regular recording light.
Yeah. Move it.
With this SAD stuff I got going on, and I'm not thoroughly convinced it's SAD. That's a seasonal affective disorder. I was thinking today, it's like I sleep now about 24 hours a day, and I'm awake 24 hours a day. So it's like I don't just go to bed at night and stay in bed. I'll be sitting in a chair and an hour later I'll wake up. But when I wake up, I'm like, where am I?
Let's get stuff done, right? Or no?
Yeah, and I can't do anything. I can't get out of bed. It's like when it's really, really cold, I sleep inside with only beds we got are upstairs. I'll wake up in the morning. I can't come down. I have to sit on my behind and come down the stairs sitting on the steps because I can't walk. I'm just so groggy. But about 15 years ago, or right after Hurricane Katrina, I was running some cables under that FEMA trailer to get satellite connected to the TV. And it was just black widows everywhere. Spiders, black widow spiders.
Right.
And I was like, oh, do not, whatever I do, don't knock one of them things out of the nest because it'll bite me for sure. So I'm going through there real comfortable and I'm staying away from the spiders. I'm not even really that concerned with it because I know I'm not messing with them. And I come in the house and I sit in my chair. And when I did, I felt something stick me in the back.
Oh, no.
And I thought, I didn't even think about a black widow. I just went, I'm doing all this kind of stuff and dancing around, and I looked, I didn't see anything anywhere. I thought a bee had got me or something. And the next morning I could not wake up, and that's the first time that's ever happened to me. And I stayed in bed. I kept telling my wife, I said, I'm going to go to the VA if I don't, something's wrong with me, And at the 30-day, right around 30 days, I said, I've got to go to the VA. So I was walking around out in the yard, and my wife says, there's a hole in your back. And sure enough, that spider had bit me. A little, like, size of a pencil eraser hole in my back, and it was solid black. And all around it was red and green. And so I went to the VA, and they said, you've got a staph infection. I said, well, black widow bit me back there. And they said, no, it's probably just a staph infection.
I mean, that tells you the current state of the medical community nowadays. I have a story kind of similar to that, where my wife every year or two gets a kidney infection, not a bladder infection, but a kidney infection. And one of the times, the last time she had one, I would love just to go get the medicine, because I know what medicine she needs, and just skip the doctor entirely. But the last time we went to the doctor for her, when she had that, I told her, make sure you tell the doctor, this is what it is, and this is all you want to have done. And sure enough, she kind of did that, but the doctor ignored her. Said, no, you take this medicine. It's a bladder infection. Don't worry about it. And once she got out of the doctor, I got upset, and I went right back into the doctor, chewed the doctor out, told the doctor how they were supposed to do their job, how the tests were supposed to be done, and then start doing what they're supposed to do. I mean, it's just like your staph infection versus a black widow. I mean, for a fact it was a black widow. So, but no, they're going to tell you what you're supposed to know.
Well, I did say, I think I saw the spider. I felt it bite me, and he said, well, maybe you got bit by a spider. And I said, well, does that mean I don't have a staph infection? He goes, no, this is a staph infection. So he gave me antibiotics, and it got cured. But, and that was the end of the story, I thought. But I always felt kind of like at this seasonal affective disorder stuff. And, a lot of people talk about how they feel depressed every year during the winter. I don't really feel depressed. I just feel groggy. But see, I had an uncle that was in Guadalcanal, and they all got bit by mosquitoes over there, and they all got malaria. He came home, and every year at the same time for about 2 months, he said he had malaria. But I think he just had the same thing as me. It's just some kind of a cycle your body gets into. And it does seem to be affected by the seasons, because it's always around this time that it happens to me. And,
that's normal, though. I mean, come on. You have to expect some sort of variability with the weather,
Yeah, well, the thing is like, I can't get out of bed. I'm dizzy, really groggy, and I can't stay awake. I can't even reply to emails a lot of the time, because I just can't even understand what I'm reading. But, and another thing like this, what we're doing now, I'm recording, by the way. So
okay.
I've told a few people, I've gotten in the car and I've gotten on the phone with people and like, hey, you mind if I record you for a YouTube video? And they're like, no, go ahead. And we get home and I get the video out of the car and I put it on the computer, and I can't figure out the editing software. So I'm hopeful that since I'm just running one camera here and we're not in the car, and I'm hoping I can put this together somehow. I think it'd be pretty easy just to add, I got this audio thing running. So all I really have to do, I think, is put the audio on the video and upload it. Hopefully. Yeah. Look, I know we had like 30 minutes and we were going to talk about a really important subject, but you know what? I need to do an update. So let's just keep talking about what's going on in my life here. I don't know. Did I tell you that I got my wife on Medicaid?
Oh yeah, that was an interesting story. But I mean, the process for that was pretty difficult, wasn't it?
Well, the thing is, I've applied for it in the past, and whenever they prescribed her latest medication, it was so expensive that there was no way for me to afford it. And they knew I couldn't afford it, But it's this thing that if she doesn't take it, she goes completely out of her mind. So they had me go fill out paperwork to get it for free. And as part of that, I had to submit documents saying that I had applied for Medicaid before and Social Security. So I didn't have those documents. I had to go to the Social Security office and say, look, I just need copies of my paperwork from when my wife was, when I applied for Social Security. They wouldn't give it to me. They said, you have to reapply. So I reapplied and waited for that to come back. Same thing with Medicaid. I went down and reapplied with Medicaid, and I had to wait for that to come back. And I wouldn't have even applied again, except that the people required that I reapply in order to get her medications for free. So we were at the mental health facility talking to the lady who runs the thing. And she said something about my medication. I said, well, we can't get the medication. I keep trying and trying and trying. Every time I get her medication in, as soon as it runs out, I have to redo all these papers. And it's the process of doing the paperwork is so involved that by the time everybody writes back, she's already out of her meds. They said, well, have you filled out the form with so-and-so over there? And I said, I don't know anything about that. So they sent me to Rachel's therapist, who filled out the forms for her to get on Medicaid. Well, and that she was doing it online, and she said, well, I have another client I have to see, so can we finish this next week? I said, yeah. And the next day, Medicaid called me. And, well, with Social Security. Social Security, if you've never been through this, Social Security and Medicaid are the same thing. It's like the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, but it's the same entity. And so when you apply for Medicaid, you actually have to talk to Social Security people to do that. And they said, we need to finish filling out your forms. And I said, okay, well, I'm her husband. I'm willing to do that. So we can't talk to you. We got to talk to her. Which I had already been told that before, so I was kind of ready for it. I said, well, look, if you just need basic information, you probably better talk to me, because I don't know if my wife could even give that to you. But they wouldn't talk to me. So I handed my phone to Rachel, and she says, 274, and I took the phone away. No, you don't tell anybody your Social Security. Who is this? I said, we're the Social Security Administration, sir. Is there some reason we can't speak with your wife? And I said, well, you can talk to her all you want, but you ain't getting her Social Security number. And they said, well, we have to confirm that it's her. And I was like, well, I know that in my mind I'm thinking they ask for the last four sometimes, but they ain't going to ask you for the whole thing. So I don't really know what happened, but it was like we filled out papers and they called. So just obviously that must be them, right? Well, it wasn't them. It was a scam. So, I attributed that to the fact that I rarely answer the phone, but knowing that I'm going through the Social Security thing, I had been answering everything that came in, even if I didn't recognize the number. And the thing said on there, number not available or number restricted or something like that. So I asked the lady, I said, if you're Social Security, why does your phone number say not available or whatever? And she said, I don't know anything about that. I called from the call center, and I don't have no idea what it says on your end. I said, well, I'm not comfortable with this. We'll come into the office and talk to you to finish filling out this form. Where's your office? And she said, I'm in Tampa, Florida. And I said, oh, Tampa, Florida. That reminds me of something. And she goes, yes, sir. And I go, F you.
How did you know that was wrong?
It just because nothing added up. So then, I guess a week goes by. I go down and I try to fill out the form again. And this time it says, we cannot complete this form online. You need to call our representative, You need to call our representative. So she said, okay, we'll call a representative. This is a lady at the mental health facility. She called and the phone came on and said, your wait time is 2 hours. But if you want, you can leave a callback number and we'll call you back so you don't have to wait on the phone. Well, I said, okay, well, that sounds good. Well, it didn't call back. All day they didn't call back. But the next day they did, and it was the same lady. He had a foreign accent and same thing. He said, I'm her husband. Well, we need to talk to her. And I gave the phone to Rachel, and I said, whatever you do not give them your Social Security number. And so, sure enough, the phone, she says, well, ma'am, I talked to you last week. I'm not giving you my Social Security number. Okay, bye. And that was it. just a few minutes after that, the phone rings again. I pick it up, and it's the lady from the Medicaid office down here. I mean, I know her. She grew up in this area. And I said, I guess you're calling me to ask me why I'm not finishing filling out that form. And she goes, no, I'm calling you to tell you you have Medicaid now. I'm like, well, wait a second. I just got a call from Social Security saying that they wanted to finish filling out this form, and you're telling me I already have it? How long have I had it? She said, well, I just opened my mail, but you've been on Medicaid since yesterday. So I said, well, somebody, every time I go down to fill out these forms, somebody calls me saying they're from Social Security. And she said, well, I don't know anything about it. That's probably a scam. I said, well, how can somebody scam me because I called you? Is someone in your office a scammer? How's this happening? She said, I don't know, but you need to call Social Security and talk to them. So I did. You know, I had to be on hold for a half hour, so I finally got somebody, and I said, well, sir, there's a lot of Social Security scams going on. I said, this is not the typical Social Security scam. This is someone in your office is leaking my information because they call me every time I try to fill out paperwork with you. And she said, we're aware of that. It's like, you're aware of it? It seems like you would take, this is the federal government. They can't take action to stop some scammer in the Philippines from taking my money?
Wow, yeah.
Well, anyway.
Well, talking about the Medicaid, so on a scale from 1 to 10, how do you think your wife's doing now after the 10 that you experienced?
She's still doing very good. 10 is bad?
Yeah, 10 is bad. So
she's at a 1.
Wow, that is.
Well, you're the one that told me that if she gets on this medication, I won't, it'd be a completely different world, and it really is. The problem is I'm barely awake. The little bit of time of the day that I am awake, I'm driving her to Medicaid, driving her to the Social Security office, driving her to her therapy. And so I'm only awake for her chores associated with this, keeping her at peace, which is not good, for 2 reasons. One, I got to get my health better so that I'm awake 18 hours like most people. And I need to get what is that right? 18 and 18. Well, for a normal day. I need to be awake for a normal day. But secondly, the time that I am awake shouldn't be spent on chores. I've got other things I need to do. I mean, even just doing these extra chores, the problem it causes, I'm not doing my regular chores. I'm not cleaning my house. I'm not maintaining my vehicle. I'm not cutting my grass. All these things that I have to do in my life, I can't do. And I'm not doing these videos. Everybody knows I haven't done a video in, a year? 6 months?
Yeah, well, we're catching up now. So I guess everybody's going to be happy to hear that the medical situation is straightened out.
Well, one of the things about Medicaid that a lot of people don't know is if the person doesn't have their own transportation, and even if they do, I guess, you can get, for at least for what my wife is being treated for, they offer Medicaid transportation, which means that from the day I got Medicaid to the rest of my life, they'll pick her up and bring her down there. Problem is, we got on Medicaid right before Thanksgiving. So you've got Thanksgiving holidays and Christmas holidays and New Year's holidays. I'm still driving her down to the facility 3 times, 4 times a week. And that isn't going to change till after the holidays. However, after the holidays, I'm hoping to get established with them and, simplify my life quite a bit.
Well, that's all good news. So, let's hear a little bit about some other parts of your life. What about your garden? That was your pride and joy in previous videos. So why don't you tell us about the tent? Don't put your head down. We want to hear about all the hard work that people volunteered to come do for you, and what's the state of the Garden of Eden.
I honestly, I am so burned out that I'm not doing anything, but I did go out there and just force myself to cut all of my grass and cut all the grass in the woods and carefully prune all my trees. I grabbed that big aluminum ladder I got, and I went out there, and I even got alongside of the power lines where that opening is. I set up a ladder, and I got up there, and I pruned off all those limbs so that the power company would be happy with how I kept things, and they would leave it alone. And I mean, like the day I got done with that, I heard tractors and stuff out there, and it was a whole bunch of dudes out there under the power lines with this big, like, tractor that had a boom on it with a saw blade. And they went along, and they stripped all the trees on the edge of that property. I mean, they were taking the bark down off the sides of them. They were cutting all the limbs off. And some of them had no limbs coming into my place. All the limbs were out there because that's where the sunlight was. And so they just looked like telephone poles. And I'm not talking about one or two trees. I mean, there's probably 200 trees from the corner where I clear to the other corner. And I said, man, y'all, please, this is, it's a lot of work for me to maintain this. Instead of mutilating my trees, if the tree is in the way, cut it down. That's all. Just cut them trees down. They said they would. They promised me they would. They said it'd be looking like a garden when they got done. And they got done and left. And I went out there, and it was like it looked like something after Katrina. All those trees are just hanging all cut off and tore up, and then there's hundreds and thousands of limbs laying out there under the power lines. And I said, this doesn't look like the Garden of Eden. This is pretty terrible what you've done to my trees. Could you please cut down the trees that you mutilated and get them out of here? And they said, oh yeah, we'll do that. And but I mean, they sent two guys came back while I was out there surveying things, and I told them that, and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll cut those down." They cut down 2 trees, so that means the other 198 I've got to somehow take. I just gave up. It's like I can't do it. I can't invite someone over here to help me, So I just gave up. If somehow I regain my health and the medical system is taking care of all my wife's problems without me, then maybe I'll get some energy back. But I'm about ready to leave. I just want to get in the camper and leave and never come back.
Well, speaking about the camper, what's the state of your camper then?
I saw one come up the other day, and it had all the options I wanted on it. It's the first time I've ever it's the second time I've called on a truck in the last 3 years, because I've been wanting to do this for 3 years, but when they come up, it's always something I don't like. Like, I can't sit in a bench seat because of my back. I have to have a bucket seat. I can't have a standard transmission. I need automatic. And I don't want something that's all rusted out. But this truck come up for sale. It was really, really cheap. And so I sent the guy a message, and he wrote back, and the description he had of it was exactly what I wanted. And when he responded to me, it was exactly what I didn't want. So it's one of those things that, I'm trying to get Habitat for Humanity up here to work on my house. And in the past, one of the questions on there, they always have questionnaires for whether if you're trying to get medical assistance or if you're trying to get anything, Social Security, Medicaid, food stamps. And now I'm trying to get Habitat for Humanity to repair my house because the back corner of the house is collapsed and it's ripped the roof open. So one of the rooms in this house, rain pours in when it's raining. And so Habitat's going to come out and fix that, supposedly. But one of the questions on the questionnaire was, how many vehicles do you own? And they were okay with me having a decent car. And I told them that there was a school bus in my yard that had not had a tag on it, had not moved in 10 years, and they were okay with that. But I feel like even if I find a truck that I want and it's within my budget, if I buy it, it's going to have to be like, I can't put it in my name. I can't get a tag on it. Which, if I buy one, it's going to be in bad enough shape that it's going to take a couple of years to get it ready to hit the road anyway. So probably get the title, bring it home, and over the next couple of years work on it, and then go get it tagged after the house is repaired.
Now, just to clarify for everybody listening, this is one of those kind of vans that they have lots of YouTube channels where people live. Everything is inside the van, like a sink and a bed and all that kind of rigmarole.
Oh, well, what I'm getting is I don't want a van with all that stuff because I have to have something I can stand straight up in. And even those vans that have the turtle tops on, I still have to bend over. And also, with a van, In the back, the bed goes side to side. Those beds that are side to side are like 5'3" I'm 6'3", so I can't sleep in a sideways bed. So anything that I would buy, I would have to fit it out. With a van, if you run the bed long ways, even the skinniest bed, then there's no room to stand between you and your stove and your toilet and your shower and all that. So I'm gonna get a pickup truck. Something that's easy to work on. I can put it in any shop. I don't have to worry about the shop having tall enough doors to get the camp, because you can take the camper off the back of a pickup truck. But those campers that go in the back pickup truck, I can stand up in them. The bed that's over the driver, I can lay down in that sideways. You're out of the way, and so you've got a lot of space in there where you can prepare meals, take a shower, that kind of stuff. I wanted a van. The van was my perfect solution because it's an actual factory-made thing from General Motors or Ford or Chevrolet. But, with a pickup truck camper, you still get something like that. It's made by a manufacturer, Dodge, Chevrolet, whatever. If I get like one of those, what do they call them, a Class C? It's the camper that's like a truck where they've cut the back end off and they've built a little house on there and connected it to the car. Those things are junk. That would be perfect if they were nice. But if you just run into a tree branch that's hanging over, rip the whole roof off your camper. Because like if you got a camper in the back of a pickup truck and you hit a tree, it'll tear your camper all to pieces. But you can get a camper for $500, and ripping the roof off of a camper in a pickup truck does not harm the truck. So I'd always have my truck. I just would have to put some $500 piece of junk in the back of it.
And in your perfect world, after you've gotten this camper, what would be the plan then? To drive down to Mexico and visit me, or what?
Oh, that'd be cool. I'm scared of going over borders, but since you're down there, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. But it's like Canada and Mexico are those things that I'm not really sure about. I'll never fly on an airplane or ride on a boat, so Europe is out of the question. But I would like to do, at least in the beginning, there's a map on YouTube or on Facebook. That's just on the internet. It's somewhere. And it's called 70 Degrees Every Day. And it's a lot of these RVers will follow that map, and it takes them on a route where traditionally, historically, the weather is 70 degrees at the location that you're at, and then a week later you move to another location where it's traditionally 70 degrees, and it travels pretty much the whole country. And of course you can get off of the route if you want to go visit somebody or see some kind of historic site. I'd like to see some stuff in this country that I've never seen before. Like, I was watching a show the other day where they had those Indians out there, the Aztecs or Mayans, whoever it was that built those things, like in Arizona. It's like a gigantic cave that's full of little skyscrapers. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see some big trees. I'd like to go up to, like, I guess California, Oregon, Washington, and see some really big trees.
And of course, you'd like to do some street preaching on the street corner.
I've thought about that. Just get a box. I don't know. I'm 6'3". I could stand on level ground and megaphone in my mouth. The end is coming. Buy beans. Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, what about YouTube? So you've been away, like everybody has noticed, for a long time. What are your thoughts about on all the changes happening in YouTube with people getting censored, and has there been any impact on your channel at all?
Well, I would say no, but at the same time, it's hard to say. I'm not doing it, and even when I was making videos, it's like I would have 1 million views, and then I'd make another video and it'd get 10 views, and I was like, what happened? Something's fishy here. And so you automatically, you're like, the president of Earth is trying to shut me down. But a lot of that stuff, it's just all done by computers. I don't think anybody really even knows who I am or where I am. But I mean, obviously I've lost pretty much all of my advertisers because, nobody wants to advertise on a channel of some crazy prophet. They want somebody that's talking about the soap opera that is their life. And I rarely get to do that because I'm talking about important things. But they got a new law about people that are appealing to kids. Their channels appeal to kids. And my heart goes out to people who have finally escaped the system. You know, they're working 9 to 5 and they decide to make a video of a video game, or they make a video of how to play checkers or something. And suddenly they're making an income. They've all quit their jobs and all they do is make YouTube videos about toys now. And there's this thing called COPPA. Have you heard of that?
Oh, right. Yeah, that's coming soon to YouTube, right? Or it has already.
They say, well, it's January 1st, I think. But they say that after January 1st, what happened is YouTube has their little robots that they have figured out who is a kid and who isn't a kid, because kids are told they can't go on YouTube. They can't have their own channel unless they're like 20 years old or 18 years old or something. Well, these kids, they're not stupid. They're like, you know, what's your age? When were you born? 1940. So there's little kids that are watching video game stuff, and their YouTube channel is set up as a 50-year-old man. But YouTube kind of knew they were 12-year-olds. So YouTube was targeting them with ads that were designed for children. And YouTube got in a lot of trouble for that, because if somebody somewhere figured it out, and they're like, YouTube is pretending like they don't know. You know, they're getting kids to say they're 50 years old to set up their own channel. And so we're advertising, you know, putting candy advertisements on those videos, knowing that kids are going to see them. So they're in trouble. And so their defense was, it's not us. It's the people that are making the videos. They're liars. And so they said, if you have a video that has anything having to do with children, or that could possibly appeal to children, or your even part of your viewers were children, you have to, whenever you post a video, it'll say, is this video primarily aimed at children, or is it primarily aimed at adults, or is it a mixed audience? And if you put on there that it's aimed at children, you're not allowed to advertise at all. And so if you can't advertise, you can't get paid. And these people, that's how they make their living. And suddenly they can't make a living because YouTube messed up and got caught. So, I mean, you think about it, well, you know, these people, it's only going to affect people that are selling toys or talking about toys, but, you know, ain't going to affect anybody else. Well, that's not true. I've got a friend that has a hobby shop, and he's been posting videos of stock car races. You know, they have those little tracks set up, and it'll be kids and adults in there that are racing these stock cars around this track, and he's getting tens of thousands of views. And he's getting a check. He's been in financial trouble for quite a while, and now he's getting out of trouble because of the extra money that's coming in from YouTube. Well, he's shut down. Basically, that's the end of him.
Wow. So did they completely cut him off, or he's scared they will?
At this point, he just knows that if he posts a video and that screen comes up that says, is this primarily aimed at children, or is it an audience of adults and children? He's going to have to put it's adults and children, which means they're probably going to completely cut him off of all of his income.
Yeah, I guess the world's changing. So I guess that kind of does it for an update for your personal life. And I guess the next subject would be moving into other areas. So I don't know if you want to just cut it off quick here and then.
Yeah, me and you'll have to get back together. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. So people out there, look, I'm staring at my face on this computer. See, there's Ala Toledo 1 he never shows his face. Not even to me. I don't have a clue what he looks like. But do you like that? But anyway, we tried to do this earlier today when he had time, and I have a new phone. And so I get down to the beach, and I'm driving, and I pulled over so I could get that thing going so I could talk to him while I was driving. And my new phone was not set up for Skype. It wouldn't let me sign in. So I had to come back to the house in a time when it's not convenient to him. And so we're limited. That's why we're shutting down now. But the next video we do, I'll probably be in a parking lot somewhere talking to somebody on Skype. And I've already done this several times with other people, but it was never planned. And I had all the video on my dash cams, and when I got home, I put it on my computer, but I just could not figure out how to edit. So, and I will work through this somehow. You know, I'm gonna go see the VA. I'm gonna go see my doctor at the VA soon and see if there's anything they can do for me, because this is pretty serious. You know, just to be stuck in a bed all day and not able to do much.
Yeah, but to give everybody an anticipation, so we're going to do a video about the recent political events, like with Trump and such, and I don't know, maybe people in the comments could maybe write a comment about what they would like to hear from you, what topical things they want you to talk about.
Well, one of the things that if somebody has something they want to talk about, because this is. You and I have done this before. Most of my subscribers have been around for a while. They know who you are, know who I am, and they know how this works. Oh, by the way, just realized I didn't show anybody my hair. It's been a while. It's pretty long. I keep breaking, like every week or so, something will happen to me that's never happened with my hair before. Like now, when I pull my pants up, I have to pull my hair out of my pants after I put my belt on. And the other day, for the first time ever, I was in the bathroom and washed my hands and face at a restaurant. And, I leaned over and my hair was there, so I just went like that. And there was a man behind me and my hair hit him in the eyeball. And I was like, man, I'm sorry.
Wow, you could have gotten in a fight.
Yeah, don't hit me. I'm an old man. I'm the same age as your mommy. Actually, I was at a casino, so everybody there is my age or older. But, well, in particular, we are going to talk about this impeachment thing that's going on, because I keep getting stuff on Facebook. I haven't gotten anything on YouTube. But if you have an opinion about that, here's the thing. Maybe you shouldn't say anything, because I have a rather scathing commentary on people that are involved on both sides of this impeachment stuff. And so I don't want to embarrass anybody.
But if there's other topics they want to hear from you other than the recent impeachment,
there's things in current events that bother people, and I know they're out there, and I kind of know what some of them are. But if my subscribers would like to talk about a specific subject, it wouldn't hurt if somebody just recommended something. It's not like we run out of stuff to say. If we talk to each other once a year, we never get around to talking what we want because we're so busy catching up. But if we call every day, back in the day when we were talking all the time, it's like we never ran out of stuff to talk about. But it's still, absolutely. I want to make sure it's something everybody wants to talk about.
Okay, well, let's do that. So in a couple days, we'll have the Trump video out, and then we'll follow up with any viewer requests. Why don't you take us out?
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video, and that you'll check back as I'm producing more videos. But until then, what is it? If you don't want to survive, don't listen to me. I forgot what my catchphrase was.
That worked. Okay, I got to run.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.